So I had to shut it down. Transmission temp is way high. I'm not getting any pressure at all. There we go. I think that's our problem right there. All right, well, we've got pressure back. Morning. Well, welcome back. We're here to keep going on the pond here, and I've got quite a few very curious friends. If you don't know this about cows, cows are super curious about stuff. So you park something new in their area, like the truck, like the skid steer, they're gonna go check it out. And most of the time they don't do anything, they don't bother it, but they're curious. They just want to know what the heck is this thing. I think that's cool. So the plan for today is gonna be to grade this valley out. I need to be able to dig right between where the dam failed. I want to get all the silt and dirt and debris out of that so we can put new clay in it. There's going to be a bunch of side quests in the midst of that and a little ADD, but we'll get it done. So let's go jump in the skid steer and we'll get started. Get in there, bud. Well, the sun's going down. Didn't get a chance to get on the dozer today. Mostly just skid steer work. But I got this whole path, this whole row, all the way down to the lake, pond, whatever we're calling it, cleaned. All the ruts are filled, and it's mostly smooth. Probably gonna come onto it with the dozer and grade it some more. Right here, got a couple high spots. I wanna take these two high spots out, right here and right there. But we got through the dam as well, as you can see here. I cut my way down here with the skid steer, and I cut right through the dam because I wanted to get out all the sediment that built up. And I started hitting really hard clay right there, so I stopped. I didn't go any deeper. So if we do get a big rain, we are going to get a puddle there, but that's okay. I'll deal with it if we have to. We've got hard clay. That's great. Now, where are we going to get the clay for the dam? Right out of the side of this hill. And then at the bottom here, there's also some pretty good solid clay. Like, you could probably fire that in a kiln and make a pot out of it. It's so good. So we got a bunch to push off the edge of this hill, get the topsoil, all the black dirt out and off, and then we're gonna get all the clay right there. And we'll fill it here, and then we're gonna come up a couple more feet. And then over here on this side, there were a bunch of ruts. Big rut right there I filled, big rut right in there that I filled. And I just wanted to be able to get in here with the skid steer and not have, you know, a spot where I was gonna tip it. So I was able to achieve that. And then the other thing I did today is I took the top of the dam off. So that pile of dirt right there is all the sediment that was built up. Apparently he had years ago taken some silt out and then piled it on the top of the dam. So we wanted to pull that off because it was pretty good topsoil. So we'll use that for something else. But we're down to pretty solid clay. So what I think we're gonna do, the overflow tube, spillway tube is gonna go down in there somewhere. And then we're actually gonna create a natural land spillway, but I wanna do it on virgin dirt. And so I'm gonna push this down to the level that we need once we know where the actual tube is. So the tube will be the main one, and that'll let water out at the height that we want. And then this one here will be there so that water does not flow over the top of the dam. So it'll be higher than the tube, but lower than the actual dam. And so, and the reason for that is if that tube gets to the point where it can't handle enough water, then what happens is, essentially, if the water has nowhere else to go, it's going to go over the top of the dam and they erode quickly. That's what happened here. So it eroded there and it eroded there, just like that. So our goal is to prevent that from happening again by creating a natural spillway. Well, that side is pretty steep hill and doesn't have a lot to it. This side is a lot more substantial, and I'm pretty sure right here is the perfect spot to do it. But I want to leave it alone until I get to the point where I know the height, because I don't want to push into the virgin dirt too much so that I don't mess with it or end up having to add to it. I don't want to add to it. I want to cut it to the height we need. So half this pile is clayish stuff, white clay. Half this pile is black dirt silt from the bottom of the pond. And so the black dirt silt, we're definitely going to grade over the top of a lot of this to try and give grass something to grow on once we get to that point. That big pile right there is mostly topsoil coming out of the bottom, and then there's some white clay on the other side. So yeah, it's coming along. Got this whole edge kind of cut down, and we don't have that drop off that was here that the cows had kind of cut into it with. And then all the dead trees that we drug out and all the brush pushed up to the burn pile. Yeah, we're getting there. It's starting to look really good. Skid steer ran great today. Dozer ran great yesterday. Let's keep going. A couple more days and probably have this done. a little low on oil, and we need to fuel up, so start this baby up and get it ready for the day. So we're leaking oil in a couple spots on the side of behind the injection pump, and the front main's still leaking, and we're burning some, so it's gonna be what it'll be. Coolant level looks perfect right at the top. All right, I'm gonna grab a funnel and some oil, put the oil in it first, and then we'll go get some fuel. That should do it. So this governor linkage here, I think, is a little messed up. So let's pop this cover off and take a look. Always has to be something stubborn. That bolt's never going back on there. I think actually it is on top. So what can happen is this can actually flip to the bottom and it doesn't work as well. So I'm pretty sure this is the right angle. It should be up top here, not down at an angle. Puts this linkage here for the throttle at the best angle. I think the problem is we should still have some slop in here. So that's what I'm feeling. All right, just wanted to check. Fan is not turning. It is, maybe the belt's a little loose. I know that the water pump is going bad. That's going to be an issue maybe sooner than later now. But let's try and tighten this alternator, see if we can get that fixed. All right, I got that belt tight. Fuel back on. Come on, you were just started. Our water pump is seizing up. See that? The belt is smoking. Just the problem I don't need right now. Well, again, that's why we're here. Trying to work out all the bugs. Those bearings in that water pump are super growly. Yep. Those bearings in that water pump are super growly. Now I'm stuck in the middle of this field here. I guess I could take the belt off and then just drive it up closer to the gate there with no fan, which will be okay for a short period of time. Wonder if I can even get bearings today. I haven't smoked the belt completely, so that's good. Definitely some rubber down there. All right, I've got the belt disconnected from the actual crankshaft pulley and just kind of tucked up there. Should be okay for a short drive. All right, we did not get hotter than much normal. So let's tear into that. So the bearings in that water pump just seized up. You can almost not turn it at all, and it's not connected to the crank. So it's not like we've got drag from the crankshaft. It should be totally spinning free. And the other thing was, it was wobbly, so I kind of knew this was going to happen. Actually, it's loosening up the more I mess with it, but let's get that fan off, then the pulley comes off, and then we can get in there and pull the water pump out. All right, I got all 4 bolts off. The fan should just come off. Come on. And get a hammer. The heck's going on here? There we go. Man, it took some beating to get that thing off. I had to take off both the cages and the shroud to get in there, but I got it. Next time it needs some anti-seize right in this area. And this thing is stuck on here too. There we go. That's our pulley. Here's the water pump. I don't know if you can hear that. Shouldn't be making that noise. All right, now it should be clean enough that we can actually get it off without dumping a bunch of dirt into the engine. All right, I got pans below. We're gonna lose coolant, but nothing we can do about that. Probably gonna lose about half the coolant this thing has. Hoping I can save this gasket. Now these are coming out nice. Some separation starting to drip. Here we go. I'm trying to control the flow. There's our water pump. I think we saved the gasket too. Here's the water pump. Actually doesn't look too bad at all. It doesn't look all crusty. I was able to get the gasket saved and it looks perfect. Honestly, I'm so reusing that. So I think you put this in a vise, this little nipple here. So it's got two flats on it. Or we could put the nut in the vise and then spin this with a wrench. Either way, there is a seal way out here, I think. It might be in here, I'm not sure. But there's a seal, a bearing, a spacer, and a bearing. And then I think there's a clip in here. Once we get the shaft out, we'll be able to tell how good everything is. And then this here is your little drain port. So once the seal goes bad, coolant starts to drain out of here before, it's supposed to anyway, before the whole thing fails. That way you don't end up with a situation like we're in now, where it kind of seizes up. But who knows, maybe the bearings just were never greased. Maybe, I mean, you can't really grease these except for when you install it. I don't know. This pump is a 1W 5844. This little pulley here has the old Pac-Man logo right there. Little tiny square stamped. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, we're going to take this, head over to the shop, and see if we can find some bearings for it. See if we can unscrew it. Yeah, it's working. Here we go. So there's a washer. And that's your plate for the fan. And I think we just press this out. No numbers on it. Just don't want to break this housing. Don't care about the wood. Alright, we don't have a firm enough hold on it. And here's our setup now. See if this will work. Beautiful. There we go. Looks like got a seal here. Kind of think I can use that and press those bearings out. Looks like there's this spacer here. And oh man, these bearings are super loose. Oh sweet, it's a Timken. Timken LM12749. I was hoping I would find a part number. Is this an oil seal or is that part of the bearing? I can't quite tell. Now, how do I get it out? Hard part is there's a retaining clip in the middle. Actually, you know what? I think they installed this wrong. This is the spacer. This should go in the middle. Whoever rebuilt this did it wrong. There should be a bearing on this side, a spacer, which this has to be the spacer, and another bearing on the inside. So it's bearing, spacer, then there's a clip, which I see down there, and then another bearing, which, might explain why it probably blew up prematurely. Hasn't been right all these years. How the heck do I get these out? With that clip in the middle. I pulled out the rubber. There is an oil seal here. And I was able to kind of like walk this part of the bearing up, and the inside race is just destroyed. It is garbage. Yep, there's one of the bearing. You see the rollers? They're falling out now. Yep. This was going to be a big problem soon. Wow. I'm not exactly sure what oil seal this is. There's the inner race of the bearing. I don't think the manual says there's an oil seal at all. Is that the retaining clip? I'm kind of surprised we even ran this long. Oh no, there's the clip. I see it. It's under this oil seal. There's the rest of the bearing. Well, there is a spacer in there, I think. Actually, that might be the outer race of the bearing. I think that's exactly what it is. I'm going to get this oil seal out. What's left of it. All right, let's get this clip out. There's our clip. There's the outer bearing race. That guy. Yeah, they had this put together wrong. There's the bearing. There's the outer race, inner race. Another oil seal. I think that is another oil seal. All right, I'm gonna clean this up. I'll bring you back when I have some stuff figured out. All right, this is really interesting. So I thought that they had put this thing back together wrong, having, where'd it go? Where's the little spacer? There it is. So I thought that they had this spacer in the wrong place because they had it at the very top. If you look at the manual, it shows a bearing, a spacer, a bearing, and then you have the main water seal, essentially, the one that keeps the coolant from leaking outside. That's it. You can see two bearings, bearing. It's a completely sealed bearing. What we have here is cone bearings with a race. So somebody completely customized this, and I think they even machined the shaft some to be able to make this work. So what they did was they put an oil seal in way down at the bottom. That was never there. Then they put the race and a bearing all the way down in there. Then they had this spacer thing. I don't really know what it was, but I'm betting it's just to keep just enough space so that 2 bearings don't touch, would be my guess. And then they had another 2 rings that went on either side of the middle, or the upper bearing, the other bearing. And then they had this little spacer on the outside. And then there was an oil seal up here. What I've done is I've dug through my stuff, and wouldn't you know it, I think I've got 2 oil seals that'll work for this, and the only cone bearing in any relative size that I had was this one, and it is a 12749. What is this one? A 12749. What is the one that's all destroyed? A 12749. So all these pieces should look like that. Now, what I'm going to do, because I'm trying to get this going so I can use it tomorrow, I can reuse this race. It's not great. Neither's the bearing that I've got. I don't intend on leaving this. I intend on this just being a fix to get me through. So we're going to assemble it exactly how they had. If these oil seals that I've got aren't the right exact size and they burn up, so be it. I'm really not too worried about it. Let's just put it back together, and then I can get the actual parts that I need ordered. I'm not even necessarily sure that the actual parts are going to even fit anymore. If they've done some machining to make like this oil seal fit. I don't know if they've machined the inside of the casting here. We might need an all new oil or water pump if this doesn't work. So let's just go ahead and put it back together the way they got it and see if we can't get some more time out of it. All right, I got it all in there. All except for the oil seal and the little spacer. Good deal. They're all packed with grease. We have this oil seal to go on. All right, now we press this baby through here. My bet is this will last a little while, only because the inner oil seal way down here wasn't the greatest fit. So, and that side is the side that we'll see water. So worst case, we're going to get water in. This is more so the outer dust seal. And then this guy will press right into that. Should anyway. It did when it was out. All right, I got the pump back up here at the farm. So it's a little bit tight, but it's just gonna have to do. So somebody definitely did a bunch of work in this thing to make it work. The seal isn't right, the spacer isn't the same. Like they made a really good effort at it. I'm probably gonna have to get a whole new pump, but for now, this is gonna work. So let's get this thrown on, and then we're gonna clean up the fan and then get everything put back together. This gasket only goes one way. There it is. No. Right like that. There we go. Pump is much tighter, not all wobbly, actually spins. So on this fan, the edges have gotten kind of sharp. There's some burrs that when I reach in there, I've caught my finger on a couple times, and I want to get rid of those. So we're gonna take the grinder real quick and clean that up. Before we stick this on there, we're going to put copper anti-seize on the inside of this, on this face, and on this face, because it was a little too hard to get out for my liking. And then on the inside here too. So this is a pusher fan. So it basically pushes the air through the front of the radiator. See how the fins are cupped to the front? So they cup this way, and as it turns, it is pushing air that way out through the radiator. So we need this copper anti-seize in here and on this face. Getting these bolts in. All right, there we go. Fan is nice and quiet. It's totally firm too, like no wobble in it like there was before. Moves easy enough by hand. There's still a little stiffness to it, but once the belt's on and the crankshaft is turning it, it'll turn great. So we'll see how long it lasts. I'm hesitant with the seals that I put in it, whether they're not going to be able to last very long. I don't know. And we didn't replace the actual water seal on the pump because I didn't have one. The goal was slap it together and make it work for maybe like a week, and then I'm probably either going to get new bearings for it and a seal. It might need an all new pump. But I think for today we can get back to dozing. So I will get all the shrouds put back together, get the belt on, get the alternator put back in line. All right, for coolant, I actually have a bunch of full strength coolant on the service truck, but it's not 50-50. So we need to go get some water. I got this empty jug here. So let's go get some water. I only have one empty jug, so that'll basically give me 2 gallons of coolant. We might need to go get another one, but for now I'm just gonna do this. So let's go over to the farm and we'll get some out of the well. I'm gonna flick this switch here. Turns the pump on. Come over here and turn on the spigot. And there's the water. Hi guys. Little scaredy cat. I'm pretty sure we lost at least 2 gallons, so I'm going to start with full gallon of water, full gallon of coolant. There's our antifreeze, here's the water. Good. So now I can use these jugs and I can mix it up if I need to. We are in the tank and we're kind of level. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it and then check it after we get it started. Well, my water pump didn't work. It's leaking right out of that little drain plug. I think I only pushed for a couple of minutes. All right, I gotta get it out of here, so let's start it back up. Smoking. Yeah, see all that coolant pouring down? Awesome. And I parked right next to a cow pie. I wondered if that would work. All right, now we know. You could be frustrated that this didn't work, but at the end of the day, it was a Hail Mary trying to make that water pump work with the junk parts that I had laying around, and clearly it did not work. So I'm gonna get a new water pump coming, a couple other parts possibly, but for now, we're just gonna let it sit here, and we'll get back on it as soon as I get that pump come in.